year was 1915. The War of Europe is in full swing. The battle for Verdun has gone on for a little over a year now, and it still seems no progress has been made. I've seen so many die. I think of myself as like, too many dead. Medic always says, too many dead. The words echo through my mind. Every time someone dies, someone takes his place. I've just about gone deaf from the constant noise of the bombardment of shells, bombs, and grenades. The taste of smoke and sulfur fills the air from the constant fire. Over these 15 long months, I can't recall how many times I've tasted blood. Most of them, I have no idea if it's even mine. It could be that of either of the bodies on my right or left, charred and missing all sorts of extremities. Rats are drawn to feast on what's left of the bodies. I vomit as I watch them burrow into decaying body as gas and liquids ooze out. I know the rats can smell the stench of blood and urine and feces from miles away. The stench is so strong I've taken to wearing my gas mask for all waking hours, and even this does little good. I look in the mirror, and I can see that when I return from this war, assuming I do, I won't look my age. I won't look 18. I will look like I could have fathered my own wife, like I'm my father's brother. The screams of soldiers, British, French, and German alike fill the air. I may be 20 meters from the sick ward, but the moans and groans of the wounded men seem soulless as they echo down the trenches. The aches and pains of scars on my back, along with the terrible thoughts of death and failure and chaos running through my mind, keep me awake at night. Usually, I'm either put to sleep by the sobbing of other men or, on occasion, my own tears. Then, for the rare few hours I am able to sleep, I only dream of death. I awake every morning, get my measly ration and eat it, and get to duty. I thought the food in London was terrible. Now the trench meals far surpass anything, making my mother's burnt water cooking seem fit for the king. On rare occasion, we receive crackers or small cakes from the family back home. With it, I always find a picture of my mother, father, and pregnant wife. I look at these photos and my faith is restored. I remember the reason we're fighting here. It's so that no one may face the fist of oppression. And I continue to fight this war, the war to end all wars, so that my son does not have to suffer in the trenches just as I have.
I hear the crying of the men at night wishing to be with their mothers and families as they read their letters from home. To smell the rain and the sweat, the men laboring to get the waters out of the trenches as I see their corpses and disembodied fluids flowing into the crowded tunnels. I can feel the water and the feces fill what's left to my boots, and the squealing of drowning rats fill my ears. I hear the rats tearing apart the bodies of the fallen and the screams of those in the infirmary, wishing to be with their children, knowing that they may never see them again. I smell the sulfur from the artillery shells and the rifles as they fire with loud echoing sounds that can leave a man gasping for air. I feel my body growing weak because of lack of sleep and protein. My eyes begin to grow tired. I remember the smells of my mother's cooking back home, the warmth of the hugs from my soon-to-be wife. I begin to cry and I put my pistol up to my skull, pressing harder and slowly moving my finger on the trigger. I then remember the sacrifices that have been made in the trenches, and I mutter to myself, I can't go out like this. I begin to pick up myself with the little strength I have and grab my rifle, moving back to my position, placing myself up on what's left of the soft soil. I feeling the wind of the bullets whizzing by my face. I can smell the gases from the flamethrowers and the trickling of fuel onto the ground. I feel the roaring of the tank engines and planes as they terrorize the battlefield, making it a living hell. Feeling the shrapnel from their destructions they call weapons. I can feel the fuel splatter against my scarred face. I hear the shots of bombs echo across the land. I can feel the poisonous gases filling the trenches and the screams of those being coaxed in it as they're being taken away by the grasp of death. My heart begins to pound harder and harder as I hear the distant howls, as if wolves were tearing at my ears. I begin to look at the people around me, seeing the fear struck into their eyes.
In the trenches, I could barely see the fright in everyone's eyes. Some of them trying to act brave, but I caught everyone on more than one occasion crying or quietly sobbing. The trenches were the front door to hell, and each day someone entered them. While waiting in the early morning, laying on a mound of dirt, it was quiet. Horrifyingly quiet. I could hear my own heartbeat, as if I tuned everything else out. Out of nowhere, I heard the soft whistle, at first quiet, but getting louder and louder. I looked around, thinking someone was whistling, but then it hit me. A bomb. I looked in the air and saw a tiny black dot slowly getting bigger. I couldn't make myself move, paralyzed to look at the incoming target. I then realized this could be my death. That single thought brought me back to reality. I bolted without telling anyone. I would probably be killed for desertion, but I'd rather help testify against my commanding officer than to die by the bomb. I felt sorry for the troops, still staring at me in the early morning fog, wondering why I was running. Just as I reached the next bend, I stopped, realized that my entire squad is still there, half of them asleep. I had no more time. It hit the ground, and the blast hit me. I fell upon the ground and took a mouthful of unspeakable things and dirt, banging my head on my rifle and the wooden beam on the side of the trench. I felt the heat on my back, and in that moment, I knew what would happen next would be the most gruesome times in the trench, in this horrid war. I leaned my hand on the wooden beam next to me and pulled myself up. I turned around and looked at the wreckage. It was devastating. A cloud of smoke was rising from where it hit. Reality hit me worse than any bomb could hit a target. My friend, Jack, was still beside me that morning, still asleep. We'd been through this war together for 3 whole years. Even before the war started, we were finishing our last year of high school together. But now it doesn't matter. He's dead, blown to bits and pieces. I saw blood in limbs, bodies severed by the blast, blood oozing from them onto the dirty ground, full of dirt and feces. Rats already arriving to feast on the carnage. Then I heard the screams, not of fright, but of anger, of attack. The enemy charging towards us, heading towards the left and some to the right, working their way through dazed soldiers still waking up, heading towards the center, heading towards me. I couldn't move. I couldn't command my legs to run. All that has happened is just too much for me to comprehend. I sit down, awaiting what is to come, accepting it. My girlfriend back home will find a soldier at her door telling her I died. And Jack, my closest friend, now dead. I picked up my rifle, holding it softly, caressing it, the only true item I have kept all these years. Enemy troops rounded the corner and took aim at me. They were too close for me to shoot from how I was sitting. I didn't want to die without firing, without trying to make a difference. But when it really mattered to me, I'll be dead. I won't have to worry about the outcome. My family has been long since dead. Nobody to worry or miss me. But I still don't want to die without taking someone with me. Must be human nature, I guess. I pick up my rifle, bayonet on the end, and launched myself at the first soldier, stabbing him straight through the heart. The look of surprise on his face shot energy into me. I got up to my feet and pulled my bayonet out, spewing blood about and stabbing at the next man who doesn't fare well either, with my bayonet to the stomach, but he doesn't die as easily. He hits me with the butt of his rifle, shooting stars into my vision. As I fall back, keeping my rifle stuck into him, he falls forward onto it, punching the entire gun through his stomach. Everywhere. Blood is everywhere. In my eyes, on my hands. I look up, half of my vision still blurred, to the barrel of a gun aimed at my head. I say my prayers and accept what happens next. I hear the shot, but I don't feel anything but a warmth spreading around my stomach. I look down at the blood and realize I'm dying. After such a long war, I'm finally dying.